Yeah, today is 31st of October 2024,
Yes, sir.
and I suppose today is the day of the lights, right? Deepavali.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that lighting, enlightenment, okay. Enlightening the surroundings with man created flames, lamps. Right. So, right now, you are enlightening yourself with the knowing about certain critical mindsets which ideally every human being in the world should be trained in. As I have written in the preface of my book, The Nine Mental Traps, every human being is a potential so-called genius which every researcher is certifying, and nowadays everybody is sort of claiming. Yes, I am Atma Brahma. The great rishis, they would not make an empty statement. What else? Human being seems to have an impression that they create children. No, no, not at all. Like in the case of the butterflies and the birds and the cats, okay, a cat can be formed only in the body of a cat, that's all. But that cat was formed in the body of the mother cat by 100% the nature process. Same is the case with the human beings also. Therefore, as I usually say, every standard human being created under more or less ideal conditions of the mind and the body and the intellect and the intelligence and spirit of the father body and mother body should be reaching whatever we name as genius or original or what the great psychologist Abraham Maslow says, the fully functioning human being. So nowadays there are no human beings, in a way, so to speak, in the sense of birds and cats. Human beings have to evolve to that level, not programmed, or envisaged, or anticipated, or created by the wonder of the nature process. There is no logic to believe that nature process would do a half-hearted job in the development of an embryo and the wonderful engines of the womb of a woman. So, I am reminding you that these 9 mental sets which are formed in every human being by the enforced centricity and conformity of the parents and the teachers and the PAs and the social network and the campaigns of the various kinds in the media and the environment, human beings are reduced to just an automaton. Actually, human beings are sort of very dynamic robots only. They do every action by their learning, and they continue to do that. And of course, they have the so-called feelings and emotions and the minds and thoughts. Therefore, of course, as of now, they are really different from robots. Other than that, I would say most human beings are nothing but duplicates. Like you give an original to the photostat machine and take duplicates. Even duplicates are really good. I mean, mechanical duplicates. Human beings are not able to become even duplicates. Because when the duplication process is happening, if the teacher tells 10 points in the class, the one boy gets 1 point, one boy gets 3 points, somebody gets 8 points, and somebody gets no points. When the parents are telling nice things with all their beautiful intentions and sincerity and commitment and hope, they learn a little bit. So even duplications are not happening. Then what is that so-called learning of the human being? Actually, as a psychologist, as a researcher in creativity and originality, I am baffled in a way. But when I look at it from another side, that is precisely because of the creativity of the human being only. What creativity meaning? That engine is very flexible. The guy who says, I don't understand anything about what the teacher said, he would sit before a TV program for 3 films in continuity and he gets everything.
True.
And even researchers in psychology say that the attention span of a child cannot be more than 10 minutes, okay? Concentration cannot be more than 5 minutes, etc., etc. Research studies, they do it artificially in the laboratory, they prove it. But with the so-called such kind of children, they can watch 5 movies continuously with no fatigue, no tiredness, no boredom, and he or she remembers every detail of the film also. Because the child is interested. Involved.
True.
So, and even duplication. Then in psychology, there is a theory that the theories of learning, 1200 page book, so many theories of learning. Anybody is, any significant researcher in psychology will create a theory on learning. Actually, we can create as many theories of learning as there are human beings. But there are some 100 plus theories of learning. So I don't know any of most of them, but I remember learning by imitation. Children learn by imitation. Human beings learn by duplication. It is my idea. It is my finding. But classical theories in psychology, they say learning by imitation. But are they imitating? That also very poor. Somebody imitates really very well. Somebody imitates about 50%, 40%, 30%. That's all. Now I am telling to the entire world of psychologists that this difference in learning or imitation or in my point duplication or differences in competencies are actually due to the inherent flexibility, or what they call that everybody has creativity because of that creative engines. This creativity is basically flexible. Think something other way. Or the very researchers in creativity, they declare that flexibility or no rigidity is an attribute of highly creative people. Namaste, Pandaswami. So that next mindset we want to talk about is rigidity, the opposite of flexibility.
Okay.
Okay. That we will talk. But before that I want to continue that because of that flexibility only, the child for 2 minutes look at the face of the teacher and learn, then suddenly it is looking outside, or if the class is very controlled, he is looking at the teacher only. But time 1 thoughts about something, time 2 thought about chocolate, time 3 thought about
mind is wandering.
It is going on flexible only. In that inherent flexibility, I am repeating to the world of psychology and other people, because of that inherent flexibility of the engines of thought process of the human beings, these individual differences in learning and imitation and development of knowing and development of quality and character and all kinds of attributes are happening. And it is more or less inevitable, because it is not easy to stop your flexibility, like it is not easy to control your thought process. If you want to think about something, you are not able to think about something. If you do not want to think about something, that alone comes.
Only comes.
So, this is a point which I am making to the world, that individual differences are also due to that inherent flexibility of the creative intellect of almost every standard human being. Now, coming to the point of the Pradeepan Khandwala questionnaire and the mental blocks, rigidity is another mindset. So rigidity, the term is very clear. Rigidity meaning you are not able to be flexible in the sense that you will be forced to do a certain thing only the way you have learned, only the way you know to express or to respond or to behave or to do or to relate with people or to talk. All the 6 components of the human being, namely expressions, responses, behaviors, actions, relating with others and the ways of language, they all become more or less rigid for a given human being. That's why yesterday, after 40 years or so, my colleague in Union Christian College Alway by name Dr. P.J. Churian called me. Instantly I got him. Because the sound, of course, the organism, it remains more or less constant, but the way of his talking, because we lived in the same teacher's hostel. And I really liked him also, so I have noticed him a little bit. He was a very unique person even at that age, a young lecturer. He joined junior to me in the Union College, in the Department of History. And then he laughed. And I said, your laughter is the same. So that is organic rigidity. But many others, I know history people. He was a lecturer in history, then he did his PhD in Oxford and all that. So he went in greater dimensions, and here he is doing a lot of highly creative things. Imaginarium. Yesterday we discussed a little bit about it. I am sure he will be able to discuss about it for another 3 days. So that is his flexibility. Whereas many thousands of history students, they are continuing to teach the same Indian history or ancient Indian history or modern British history or Mughals or etc. There are certain categorization in the history textbooks. They are doing the same thing. So that is called rigidity. Or the same way of doing things. Same way of even taking a screwdriver. I mean, workshops and other technicians, they cannot be easily trained. So leadership, for example, leadership is, for example, the ability to inspire, liberate and lead, etc. So many training programs are going, but there is not much change. Creativity training, for example, in my case, creative analytic thinking, most of the time they nominate senior people. I said they cannot change. Bring me young generation. Ideally, I want to do training for school students.
They require.
Yeah, sort of after my so-called doctorate degree from under one of the top guys in the world, instead of doing a job, I spent around 12 years in that school for creative perspective, thinking that I would be able to do training programs for children. Not only me, every creativity trainer in the world says creative thinking should be trained for children.
That's the right time also.
Yeah, because adults have already become rigid. To an extent, Our Lady has become rigid in the way she was, because some 10-12 years. But she is very young, so we have applied, of course, our so-called desires. So this is called rigidity. And what do you think about your score of rigidity?
Maybe around 45-50.
Yeah, 43.5. Good, that's good. Your sensitivity to your own self is very good. People say think differently. It's easy to say. I did a training program for a company called Hexava Technologies. Okay? And they created a mug, by my training programs. It was very well known. Ignite the genius within. Oh, genius is like potas. Okay, like crackers, waiting to be ignited with a matchstick. Because years and years, decades of same way of thinking, same way of behaving, same way of expressing, same way of doing, same way of learning, and not reading. Why a great lot of people do not read anything different from what they have learned? A physicist may continue to learn articles on physics, but he would not learn, let us say, poetry or music or philosophies. For some of the Western medicine people, they sit going on summarily blaming Indian Ayurvedic system. They just don't want to investigate. They just don't want to look at it and see. That is called rigidity. Or religion is the best example of rigidity. Okay. Islam, a clear example of terribly 100% rigid religion. And Islam cannot escape from the rigidity of that religion because they have done a very intelligent strategy, very creative strategy of cutting the tip of the penis of a young boy. It is called, it's a very highly religiously ritualistic procedure, circumcision. There are their own spiritual leaders who do that. That was in the past. I think now it is done in the hospitals. Yeah. So they just cannot escape in general. Plus they are compulsorily forced to go every day. So by that every day they are going for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now they just cannot sit at home. At that time they have to go, otherwise it is like addiction. Rigidity. So rigidity there, political rigidity or religious rigidity, ideological rigidity and things like that. And in so-called, especially in India, this is a questionnaire particularly developed by Pradeep Khandwala. The questionnaire has to be culture specific. The items should be very much in tune with the Indian mindset. Similar questionnaire in the US will look different. Suitable to their culture. So in India, a junior guy has to be very careful presenting a new idea to the boss. In n number of interviews I did, I don't think not more than 5. N number meaning, let us say it is 3,000, 4,000. Not more than 5 cases I remember that when a junior says something to the senior manager, he immediately, oh I see, such a possibility is there. Come on, let's investigate. I mean when the junior says. Even when the colleague says, no, I don't think it will work. Even without investigating, most of the time people won't say that because they know. Like Ashok Harris used to say, people are very intelligent, everybody, in the sense of social interaction. So they know which boss will listen to him, which boss will not. They feel it within half an hour. So most of them would not say anything to a so-called leader in India because they all know they are very, very, very rigid.
Is it also can be called it as ego, doctor?
Yeah, that's a very good, beautiful question. Yeah, in a way it is connected to ego defense mechanism. Because how can I change you? A young guy is coming and telling me, why don't you? No, who is he to tell me? The ego is the CEO. The CEO should be always correct and correct and correct only. They are not capable of admitting a mistake. Yeah, especially in India, they just cannot accept that sorry, I have done a mistake. So the idea presenter has to be very careful. I train my students. Most of them are trained in creative analytical thinking. I tell them, be very careful. To tell a new idea.
If they don't accept the ideas of juniors as a CEO or managers, how they will recognize, doctor?
That you are sitting here and asking, yeah.
They have to, consider and support their ideology also, no? They only ask, come up with new innovative things or new ideas and all. When they give those ideas, if they are not ready to accept,
Yeah, that is why India is even now, I would say, third world country. Nobody even like to accept a suggestion. You make a suggestion to your colleague, then you will know. There, you have a beautiful point. Ego comes in picture also. So rigidity goes very well with ego. No, I will not change my step. There is a problem with so many divorces, increasingly in the modern times, Do you think husband and wife quarrel only now? I would say it was much more in the past. Husbands used to physically beat their wives. They beat today, tomorrow they will kiss each other. Now everybody has this ego, and much more that everybody is highly educated, so they have the rigidity also. Even when the husband makes a careful suggestion about doing something indifferent, no, this is okay. Most of the time the other guy gets irritated if you do not wordify it very properly. That's the problem with the Indian administrative service. I told you, rarely you will see an IAS person walking on the road in India. Most of them are such a sad victim of rigidity. IPS people are little more better because they interact with the society. They may pretend to be rigid for political reasons or some other reasons. But they are much better people than, I would say, the IAS people. IAS people are, I don't know, they are not even ordinary human beings. I would say they are subordinary human beings. Yeah. I even suspected when I was at the LBS Academy, Missouri, I think they are very clever. Because IAS interviews are always conducted by external people, but there are certain policies. There will be a senior, at least 2-3 senior IAS joint secretary level people in the interview board. They want to select obedient, yes sir, kind of gutless, spineless, rigid, non-creative, kind of what you call slaves kind of people. And most of the academically brilliant guys are even otherwise rigid, useless. They cannot think on their own. That's why they took a rank and they became first in the what you call IAS entrance. What do you think about IAS entrance exam? Unless you bloody mug up a hell of a lot of nonsense in this world, you will not come in the first 700 or 1500 ranks. By that 2 years of preparation itself, an otherwise little bit of brilliant guy from the university will become a rigid, stupid guy. That is the tragedy of this third world country, India. Right now I am telling to Narendra Damodar Das Modi, with all respect, Honorable Prime Minister of India, change the selection process of all administrative levels, including the clerk in a government office. If you want India to be number one, and I am sure it will not happen, and I have told in many public stages and in my other videos that India will never become number one. Never. I can only say that with a shouting authenticity, because I have the data from 25,000 people from all ranges of life, education and employment. Very rigid people. And there are some intellectuals say Indian culture is very bloody flexible. We are receptive to new idea. What is the example, you know? So many Indians got converted into Christians and Muslims. They easily welcomed, embraced new ideology. They claim ridiculous stupidity. That is because of some other mental trap. Fear
It's 12:30.
and self-doubt and a lack of commitment to fellow beings. That's why most of them could be converted. Okay, if you ask me, there is an element of lesser ego. There is an element of flexibility also. But there were a greater number of Indians at that time who did not allow that conversion. Okay?
Yeah.
Great. I have never heard about any great poets or writers or thinkers or philosophers or university academicians, singers, etc. converted. Agree for that conversion. A great lot of them were from the so-called subdued lower categories.
True.
It was not their flexibility that they adopted, embraced Christianity or Islam. They were all manipulated by the invaders. You be this, you will get all those things.
Direct bribe.
Because they never had any self-respect or clear identity. That is not their fault, of course. That was because of because of the rigidity of the so-called upper caste in this country. Even in 2024, they are not ready to change. I know many so-called upper caste people. They are just not ready to accept the very, very low caste people. Absolute rigidity. That's why these poor people, poorest of the poor, especially in the lower socio-economic class, when they got a new light, when they got a Deepavali offered by the other, they wholly welcomed it and they did it. They really protected them. They don't have such a caste or whatever differentiation. They welcomed everybody in the same way. So the rigidity of the Indian upper class should stop, which is very, very unlikely because most of them are not at all creative. They are all comfort zone bound. They are highly simplicity, conformity driven. They all have serious self-doubt. If I don't have self-doubt, why don't I embrace Rangan? You know, after shifting to this place, we were staying in Nalandari. I'm known to everybody in Nalandari because somebody put my huge poster in 2-3 places. We have a wonderful guy here, something like that. And those who brought me to Alandari was the top leader of Alandari. Yeah, Dharmalingam. He went around telling a lot of people stories about me. Okay? And I shifted to this Kalimangalam. Some of them used to come here almost every day, kind of a thing. Then gradually they realized that my most trusted people are Rangan and family. In fact, at least 5 of them asked me, they saw Rangan moving around. He is not even inside the house. What is happening? No. You know, these people are, these people are so-called untouchables. Don't allow them to enter your campus, okay? And one person said, because there's a custom of offering glass of water to anybody who comes. Even if they are just here after drinking a glass of water. And immediately he put down the glass and said, I will not take even water from here, and he walked out of this house. Because Rangan was standing there. Because he never felt it, We treated him like equal. So, this is the problem of this country. Even now the so-called Dalits are killed in Bihar and Chhattisgarh and whatever. Even now. I am talking about the religious rigidity or the rigidity of the ego. I am this, I am that, I am the boss, I am the upper caste, I am this one, that one, etc. I am the senior ASP, I am a DYSP, I am an IPS. I am an Ayurvedic doctor, not an Ayurvedic Vaidya.
They don't want to use Vaidya, instead they use doctor.
Because they are all made rigid victims of the colonial mindset. That's why everybody should be reading different perspectives. With this rigidity, do you think they are going to reach the heaven?
No.
They will not.
Not at all.
They are all rigidly packed into a social identity that I am a Muslim, I am a Christian, I am a this. Even I am a Hindu is a mental block to self-realization and self-discovery. That's why that great writer, I think Hermann Hesse, I remember now, a German philosopher who wrote a book, if you see the Buddha on the road, kill him. That means he is falsifying himself. A Buddha cannot reach enlightenment. After reaching enlightenment, you become Buddha. Even if the so-called Islamic heaven is the right concept, neither, sir. Eh? Even if the Islamic heaven and angels or houris appearing to protect you in heaven, even if it is true, by the creative principles of reality, you are already in a rigid prison of ideas about that itself. Get the point? Yeah. Your ideology is the same. It is like the gateless gate. It is like searching the fugitive by beating the drum. The Zen masters say, those with that ego, whatsoever, who are the disciples in the Zen monastery, earnestly wanting to get enlightened, to get satori. I am comparing this with the Islamic mindset. Those who are meditating in the Himalayas and Uttarakashi and Gangotri and all that, they are all very eager, very dedicated. But they won't reach. Because that itself becomes a rigid cocoon, with the point. Even your obsession to become enlightened becomes a mental block. Your attachment with Zen itself is a block to Zen. Are you okay?
Yes.
So, the obsession with the God itself will make every, I would say, so-called pious, religious, obsessed person prevented forever from the so-called God. I'm getting from the example of the very Zen. If I insist on you loving me, I'm sure you will get fed up. Every day I'm coming and asking you, do you love me? Do you love me? First time, okay. Every time I am asking you, then you say, bloody get lost there. See? In fact, without telling you I love you, if I, by my actions, my responses, by my behaviors, if I am a nice person and doing everything for you, even without my ever imagining you loving me, I never even imagined you will love me. Actually, that's what happened in my case also. I was never having an inkling of marriage because that's why I have been trained. I was so popular that I knew a lot of so-called beautiful girls. If I knew only one, okay, I will be attached with her. I could not make a choice, that also was there. But finally, someone who I never thought, she was, of course, whatever beautiful, brilliant, etc. She threatened because she was so clear that I would not marry her. One day her friend came and told me, sir, yesterday night we could not see her in the room. We saw a letter saying that she is committing suicide, and we ran out to the back side of the hostel. There were a lot of some kind of a tree, and she was there. And she told me in the early morning as I reached the department, she was standing there. Immediately I went back to the hostel and told my head of the department, who was also my teacher, sir, this is the thing. He said, Sundar, be very careful. Okay? If she does something with a suicide note, and especially with her family background and all that, you will be instantly arrested and jailed. And he told me, Sundar, you pretend that she is here for one more year, pretend. He told me, somehow adjust with it. And it is an infatuation. And after one more year she will go, and till then you pretend. And that's what I did. And after the radio she went home and she sent a number of envoys. She said, I am coming there. So what I mean, sorry, I'm changing the story. What I mean is that I did not show anything of love. Whereas in Union Christian College, there were so many handsome boys and who really wanted to be in love, they could not love. They used to tell me, what are you doing here? But they attributed that because I write short story, poetry, I sing, etc. I don't think so. No.
Some special...
Yeah, that may be the reason. What I am telling is, I never told them. I have never asked anybody, I told anybody I love you. Even there, man. Never. I would say it is an egoistic problem for me. I would not say. Even when I starved for years together, I never approached n number of my friends. I never asked them for any money. That's a kind of maybe false identity, like one of my friends said, I have a king-size ego. That's why I did not do that. He says, not because of your quality and all that, you have a king-size ego. Maybe right, I don't know. So what I am telling is, if you want to reach enlightenment, of course, have that hope, but never ever insist on that. This I have been telling for the last 3 years to Meenakshi. Because sir, greed is bad, greed is an illness. Patanjali also says. So they think greed for money only is a problem. Greed for anything is a mental problem. It's a rigidity of a certain, what you call, psychological setting mindsets. greedy for love, greedy for friendship, greedy for what you call salvation. Won't work. Very unlikely to work. Otherwise, I am talking in good interest only. I am giving in. I am a rigorous researcher. Let me say, in a way, I was kind of a greedy researcher also. In a way. 25,000 plus files in my computer. There is so many, there will be, you will see 10 200-page notebooks. Okay? 10 page can be made into a book. What I used to do every day was, I would go on writing, I would write even in sleep. So next day morning I take those writings and enter into computer. So by the time I enter one sentence into computer, it will be explained to 10 sentences. That's why it was, I was doing it for 30 years. For no use. 90% of them are bloody useless things. Actually. Because even I don't understand that, and I cannot write about it, and I don't want to write about it. Okay? They are also not interested. So it is a complete waste. I don't feel anything about it at all. So that's the rigidity. I am not rigid, at least about, I realized. That's why I just like that closed down school for creative perspective. At its peak, at least that time peak, 19 students. It started with just 2. And just like that stopped. Then Genius Choice Institute, for which I lived. Okay? All my research, everything was for that. That you saw that tin full of the thing.
Yeah.
Then look at those cards.
Yes.
Yeah. Every card is written on either side. There were 2,500 cards.
Yeah, one topic you explained me as well.
No, that is here. That is small card.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, you see that the pink card up.
Yeah.
That is the 10 times the size of it. So I am ready to do. So rigidity is a surprisingly hidden thing in almost everybody. People say I am the way I am. It's a credit. I don't change. Okay, that's good. Good things you don't change, it is good. So today morning, Vandra said, you already told what to call, don't take something to Ashwini. And I said, I don't care. I will call her, say I change my opinion. I have no ego problem for that. And there's a normal complaint about politicians. They are very flexible. In fact, in Kerala state, there is a kind of a saying that a politician's opinion is not an iron rod. It can be broken or flexible.
Yeah.
And that's why they survive. That's a different issue. It's a delicate issue. You have to be not rigidly. You don't do a thing because you understand why you don't do a thing. And you do a thing because you understand why I do that.
I am doing that. Yeah.
That you doing cannot be considered rigidity. Rigidity is when you are just like that doing it even without knowing anything. And in case of rigidity, if you are one of the rigid day, for example, every day you get up at 4 o'clock, every day you sleep for 9 hours. If you one day you sleep, if you don't sleep, you are upset. That is called rigidity.
Rigidity. People are not flexible.
That is called rigidity. For example, so
Got
rigidity is to be understood very, very carefully. For example, I will tell you a so-called Zen.
And also stubbornness and rigidity also has got little bit minute.
Yeah, good, there is a similarity.
Yeah.
But stubbornness is not the same as rigidity actually. Rigidity
Little,
is,
very little.
But it looks like you
Yeah.
said rigidity has a lot to do with ego.
Ego,
Right.
the same
You
thing.
started really thinking very well. Good. In human things, it is all multivariable. It is not a so-called science. Even now there is a dispute whether psychology is a subject of science or art. So in some universities it is MS psychology, in some other universities it is MSc psychology. So-called science managers, they say psychology is not a science. Of course it is not, the way physics is, the way chemistry is, the way engineering is. It's about human mind. Every human being is different.
Because it is human mind,
Yeah.
it comes under the biology section of human.
Yeah.
That's how it has to be considered as science. Otherwise, it is psychology.
So that's all. Even great Zen masters were questioned for their rigidity, actually speaking. Rigidity. I talked about the Islamic rigidity or the Christian rigidity or the Sadhu sannyasi rigidity. The Zen master. I'm just telling you a small Zen parable for its connection to rigidity and how even the so-called spiritual rigidity is not correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I talked about the corners of Islam or Christianity or people meditating in the Himalayas. I told you the other day that none of them will reach anywhere.
Yes.
But it has become a practice, like the case of the great majority of Muslims, and they get an easy life especially. Actually, even I thought of going there. Yeah. About 5 years back, whatever is legally became under my ownership, because at the time of buying, I got an official document, 35,000 rupees worth of real registered document. I am not at all. These are all given to them. And then I wanted to go to Uttarakashi or somewhere. Because I have been there, it's very easy to live there. But for the severe cold and something, that somehow I am not comfortable. I am okay, but I have to put a lot of clothes on your body. You sit in a corner, and especially me, and my answers, and I can talk. Easy food, everything will be available. But I did not. So, by the way, I realized that they won't reach because they are again rigidity. They are like the Zen master said, searching the fugitive. Fugitive meaning an escaping culprit. He is in the forest. Searching a culprit in the forest by beating the drum. That means as soon as he hears the drum sound, he will go. So, a Zen parable again. It is named Monks and the Girl. Two senior Zen monks, master and above, senior monks, both of them were heads of monasteries. It is very important because they are such established Zen masters. Okay? One of them was senior by age, by experience and by organization. He was heading the largest monastery in Japan, Zen monastery. Other one was a second grade monastery. But nevertheless, both of them were great Zen masters, reached to the level of monks. So for some reason, they had to travel together. Most of the time the heads will not come together. So it was a 3-day journey. They were to go to some distant monastery for some purpose. So they started their travel in a horse cart, driven by a cartman. It must have been a special horse cart because Zen masters are so much respected and revered. And the senior monk was a guide or guru for the Emperor of Japan, that level. So they were going in a horse cart. Are you there?
Yes, I am there.
And the first day journey over. During that first day, the junior was asking a lot of some questions to the sea, because it was a rare opportunity to get such a great monk for such easy what you call comradeship. Okay. Because when travel together, you cannot keep that distance, and that to that time, ancient time, and they were discussing many aspects about the society, about the country, about people, about suffering, about many things they were talking. Not like ordinary people's hurried conversation or anything. They in their own way.
Where?
So first day they had the arrangement of staying at an inn or a resting place or a monastery. And in that night, there was a terrible rain all over, very torrential tempest and rain and things. Fortunately, it subsided by the morning. It was so terrible, and they realized that it was a special rain and it will not come again.
Okay.
And they started the journey again in the morning. They were talking something. And they were going a little slow because it is not a main road or highway, it was a path of the mountainous valley region and all that. Soon they saw in the distance a young girl, a young beautiful girl standing on the path, hesitating to cross a long patch of dirty ditch, what you call muddy water coming from the mountains. Just a mountainous area. She could not cross that area, obviously. And she was wearing a very costly, very luxurious kind of which a village mountainous girl can afford. But by design it was little costly. That
Maybe
means
she is from-
apparently she was going for some wedding or some festival.
Or maybe from affluent family.
No, it was a mountainous region. It could be whatever money, all right. Because Japanese kimono, it will be near the foot.
Yes.
You cannot
That's
even raise
their
it.
traditional dress.
And the muddy water was really muddy and long patch, and it is also in a certain flow because of that valley.
Uneven roads.
There was still water flow from the mountain tops. So it was obvious to anybody that she was absolutely confused how to cross that patch of water. And as the cart reached the water patched area, the senior monk told the cartman to stop. And he looked at the girl. It was so obvious. And he extended his hands. And after a moment of hesitation and wonder and respect, she also extended her hands, and he almost virtually lifted her and seated her very near to him. And the cart crossed this muddy patch of water, and the cart was stopped, and more or less the same way, the senior monk almost took her in the hands and gently placed her down. And the cart started. Now there's a climate difference inside the cart. The junior monk was shocked to death because in the Zen tradition also they were not supposed to even to have a distant thought about a female. As a test of their mastery, actually speaking. Anyway, that was the custom. And the junior master was wondering what this senior most master in the country has done. He was virtually almost embracingly lifted the young girl and seated him in that spaceless cart very near to his body.
Yes, done out of humanity.
No. Okay, that is the okay. Let's say so. You are a very different person. Understand the parable. The parable is not exactly about that.
Okay.
Parable is about rigidity and creative flexibility.
Yeah.
And when the mind is rigidly filled with a question of this level, you will not have anything to talk. Because that question is standing in the tip of the tongue, very forcibly,
I understand.
very rigidly, very
It's
powerfully.
13 hours.
And he did not have the confidence to question the great master. So he was in terrible mental conflict to ask or not to ask or not to ask. Why he did that? So again, to ask or not to ask. Why he did this? So that triple, what you call, gutter, the wheels of his mind got stuck. Let us say so. Until late evening. And it was a custom in Japan, the senior one will not ask a question, why you are silent and all that. Like our master thief did not ask. So now, by the time they he got out of the cart, they reached the second day of resting place. And then the junior master thought, anyway now I cannot sleep. So let me finish it. So then he asked the master, very reverently bowed before him, and in a very gentle, ultimately respectful voice, he submitted his question. Oh, revered master, in our tradition, we are not expected to even have a distant image or imagination or a thought about a female. However, I am very forced to clarify from you, why did you carry that girl? The senior master had a smile on his face, and just his hand on the shoulder, and then took the hand and said, yes, I carried her, the girl, there. I carried the girl. But I dropped her there. Are you still carrying her? That's the end of the parable.
Yeah.
So, that's a parable to be discussed in the Zen monastery where the disciples arrived in search of enlightenment or satori. So they will be given this parable. Don't come here carrying any girls.
Yes.
That is the message.
All unwanted things.
So, a great lot of people carrying, that's why quarrels never came into compromise. Divorced people behave like enemies most of the time. They don't interact, of course. I know in my own case, yeah. Because I don't have time to go for quarrel or anything, of course.
Dr. One,
Yeah.
I want to ask one first.